As DeShaun Stevenson looking to start up for that pick, and Pat Garrity getting caught flat-footed there. Trying to help out. Here's another look from a different angle. This one right back. To be still looking at it, they haven't made the official announcement yet. No question. To be still looking at it, they haven't made the official announcement yet. No question.
Jalen. Hey, Cole, how you doing? How retirement treating you? It's great, man. It's great. Just a little writing, a little investing. Nice. So I don't know if you saw anything on Twitter about your statue. Yeah, I think you got it. How you doing? How retirement treating you? Yeah, I have a vodka martini. How many hours? So I don't know if you saw anything on Twitter about your
All right, U3 Sports Talk going live this evening. It's kind of a somber evening because we're remembering U3 Sports Talk, remembering the great Kobe Bryant, remembering him on tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of his passing, along with his daughter and 7 other people in a helicopter accident. So we want to started tonight just talking about the one and only Kobe. I want to open the floor up to the audience. And if you're watching, thank you for watching us. Please, again, don't forget to like, click, and subscribe. And if you want to join us in the live panel, we will put the link for the live panel in the chat. But if you don't want to actually come on the live panel, just feel free to post your comments. We will post your comments as we're chatting about Kobe and talking about him this evening. So first want to turn it over to Cisco. Cisco, just want to get your thoughts about, just coming up on this 1 year of the loss of Kobe, and just kind of your thoughts about that.
So, I never really enjoyed Kobe as a player. That's just my personal view on him. While he was playing, I thought he was selfish. I thought he tried to do too much. But then, as he progressed in age, as he progressed in time in the NBA, you can see that his will almost mirrored that as of Batman. His will he could will a team to victory, no matter what. And I really became a fan of him, really post or during the retirement phase. But he was able to take that same mentality and what he achieved and how he translated or how that talent or how that drive still made it to his daughter. I could only wish to be able to do something like that and go on from there.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah, salute to y'all, man. Yeah, for me, when I think about Kobe, I don't think about wins or losses. For me, he was a hooper. Kobe was a baller, man. Regardless if people thought he shot too much, he was that kid when he was growing up. He was that dude you always had to bring your lunch when you're getting ready to hoop against Kobe. I was a hooper, so I knew players like that who just, it didn't matter. They was all basketball. When they got on the court, they didn't have no friends. Half his teammates wasn't his friends. But Kobe was gonna give you the business, man. And people don't talk about him enough as far as his athleticism. Kobe used to dunk on people left and right, as we saw in those clips earlier. And it wasn't a shot that he couldn't. He felt like he couldn't make. He was just a baller, man. Try to be, emulate Jordan. Look just like him. he reminded me of a younger brother that always wanted to beat his older brother. That's just the way he played. And if whoever was guarding him, you was Jordan to him, and he wanted to beat you every night. So, it's unfortunate what happened to him. He left behind a great family. He went through some adversity. He came and picked it back up. But as far as basketball is concerned, what superstar do you know that dropped 60 on his way out? 60. For whatever reason he left the game, injuries or just ready to get on with his personal life. If he decided he wanted to play, if he was healthy enough, he'll still be giving people the business today, in my opinion.
For y'all, what would you say outside of basketball is his lasting legacy?
For me, teaching kids, teaching kids how to believe in themselves. He ran a girls basketball team. As far as his willingness to help his communities, Kobe was involved. So I looked at his career moving forward as a person that was very business savvy, but also understood the power of empowering kids to become who they want to be. As far as, all these high profile athletes are going to, be scrutinized in the media. But if you could take good things away from whatever it is that we consider, messed up or whatever, that's good enough for me. That's good enough for me.
Cisco.
He's on mute.
You're on mute.
Everything he's done, for me, like I said, I'm a fan of his retirement life. I mean, the way he knew he had a goal, he knew he wanted to do something past basketball, and he prepared himself for that. For me, I don't know. To me, that's just that part of him. When that part died, that part really hurt the most because of the potential his daughter was showing, because of what he was doing in the community. He, unlike Jordan, got involved earlier, and I think I'm just guessing here, but I imagine the death of Kobe Bryant will kind of move Michael Jordan to kind of make a public statement, if I'm correct, about Black Lives Matter and social injustice. So that's I can't get past that part. That's the part that hurts. It will continue to hurt, and that's it for me.
Yeah, I know we showed the highlights, kind of his top 10 plays, but is there a play or a moment in his career that stands out for either of you? You didn't have to necessarily be the biggest Kobe fan, but is there just a moment that stood out in his career for you all?
For me, it was just his career. When you say career, I understand we're talking about basketball, man, but for me personally, I was a fan of his Oscar. That was his biggest impact on me. That was my favorite part of his career. I don't look at I understand his NBA career. I know what we're saying here, but for me, it was that new career, that new horizon that he was going to, and he was gaining so much traction. It was just, to me, him winning the Oscar, him getting involved with the community, him ensuring that WNBA was that part of him, that part of his career, that second career that stands out to me the most, more than anything he ever did. I understand what you're saying, Sean, but for me, the hardwood was great, but that part it hurt. It hurt as much as when Tupac passed away all of a sudden. There was the same type of ripple effect because there was so much potential there.
J-Mac.
Kobe dropping 30 every day of the week. Having weeks where he dropped damn near 40 every day of the week. Man, he's a hooper, man. You know, I respect all his championships, but like I said, what I love about Kobe so much is when you watch him play, he didn't cheat the game and he didn't cheat the fans. He left it on the court. If he took 80 shots a game, so be it. Nobody pull him to the side and beat him up, take the ball from him. But yeah, I just think that watching him play, I really appreciated his fire. Kobe wanted to win. He didn't care, who was on his team. He was like, let's go get him. So yeah, doing stuff like, a lot of great players. Kobe was dropping Jordan numbers. Consistently. He would have stretches where, 16, 17 days out the month, he's dropping 30.
Right.
Yeah. So for me, it's about ball. And what he did afterwards was amazing. In a little time, like Cisco said, he did prepare himself for his after basketball life.
Right.
He could have did broadcasting, but I just think that he wanted to be too involved outside of the game.
And to add on to what MC said, I enjoy, and you could tell his impact on the game, because I believe Jason Tatum said Kobe Bryant did a detail on ESPN Plus, and it was about Jason Tatum and several others. Jason Tatum himself said he watched that 11 times or maybe 100 times. I don't know. You just felt his impact. You can see his impact and how it transitioned to the next generation of great players.
Right. And, I want to kind of put you two on the spot, with this next question, because the one thing you all share with Kobe Bryant that I don't is you all are girl dads. And to see him as a girl dad and just his involvement with his daughters, can you talk about just that connection, when after he passed away and even just seeing him out even before he passed away with his daughters and doing all kind of stuff, what kind of impact that has on you?
Man, I can't get my daughter to dribble no basketball, watch no basketball. Hell, I can't get her out of her room. Right. But it did make me once he passed, and when I was looking at all the specials about him, it did make me be thankful that I do have a daughter, and that she can do whatever it is that she want to do. But it takes visible time spent with your daughter, so she'll know she'll always be protected.
Right. Which he did.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We provide that love and protection that just instills in them that even if they fail at whatever it is they're trying to do, we got their back. We'll pick them up and we'll keep encouraging. And that goes just by not being overly, I would say, overly nice, overly caring. And, you have to show a tough side to let them know that they have a tough side as well.
Right.
So he was his public perception with his daughter has a big influence and impact on society, I believe.
Right. Cisco.
To me, that's the hardest. That's the hardest part for me. I really feel bad for his wife to have that happen to his family. Right, I am a dad of girls, love them all, and they all have their personality, their unique personality, and none of them are like me. They may have similar traits to me, but they have their own personality. I felt that his daughter Gigi was almost a spitting image. And I remember one particular instance as far as him saying, I think it was on Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel.
He was on Kimmel.
Kimmel, where he was describing, people were saying, you should have a boy, so you take on the legacy. And she was like, wait, hold up. I got this. Don't worry about it. You
Right.
can see that mentality just transition to her, and she was all about it. And one of the hardest parts about watching that top 10 play was in the number 2 play when he was against the Utah Jazz, his final game.
Right, yeah.
You saw her there. That's really hard. That really is hard for me. But like I said, he left zero excuses out there. Gender regardless.
Right.
You're going to be the best. If you're going to dribble this ball, you're going to be the best at it no matter what. And I'm pretty sure he's instilled that in all his girls.
Yeah. What was always amazing to me and to learn more about him after he passed away was his ability to take his shortcomings, or his failures, whether professionally or personally, and use that as fuel to be better in every facet of his life. It
Right.
was like, when he went through, obviously, we don't want to, rehash the past, but when he went through like his public situation and the trial and everything, like he became not just rededicated to, basketball, but really rededicated himself to being, a husband and a father and fully committed to, his family. And it's like he never let those situations ultimately define him. And there's a story, I'm not sure if you all know, but he, right after when the Trayvon Martin situation was going on, and he was, kind of asked about it, he made some comments that were kind of taken, out of context in some cases, but there were some people who were really upset with him. And one of the people who criticized him was Jamel Hill. And so he hit her up and they had a conversation, and he actually ended up reaching out to Trayvon Martin's parents and apologizing and said, if you ever need anything, I'm here for you. That to me was like the measure of who he was. It was like, he could own, that he made a mistake. He could own that he, may have been off in certain spaces and places, but in the end, he figured out a way to just be better and to get better and grow from. And I think that's just the best example. And you mentioned the Oscar, the books, the Mamba Academy, like his legacy far exceeds what he did on the basketball court. Yeah, we know on the basketball court he was about that life, but the stuff he was doing outside of the court and the sides of him you got to see, particularly once he retired, I think, like for you, Cisco, for me, it just gave me a greater appreciation for, for who he was and what he was really about. And obviously, it's still kind of shocking when you even think about it and talk about it, because first, it doesn't seem like it's been a year already. And then, you're talking about someone who was still very much in the prime of their lives. And obviously, we don't want to forget, his daughter, who, obviously was 13, and the other 7 passengers. We don't want to forget them as well. But, it just seems to still be very much a kind of a shock. And when you even think about it and talk about it, and to be honest, it's kind of hard talking about it. I mean, even I remember where I was when I heard the news and my phone started blowing up, and it was like, nah, this can't be real. And then, that place TMZ reported it, and it was like, oh shoot. Like it's, like TMZ, if TMZ is reporting it, it's pretty much probably the truth. And so it was just being kind of in a state of shock. And really, I know for me, it was being in a state of like, wow. And just, yeah.
It was you were instantly numb, right? Because I remember I was I don't know what I was doing, but I left my phone on the bed, and I went to go do something in the garage. I came right back, and then I just saw, people just lighting up, like, what's going on? And then I said, no way. I think I saw it on Facebook first or whatever, and then I just go to ESPN. I'm trying to refresh my screen, and breaking news: Kobe Bryant is dead. I was like, you've got to be shitting me. That was, like I said before, it's just, to me, that second part of him, like his storyline is that, he was middle class, right? His father played in the NBA, or play worldwide, so he wasn't hurt for money.
Right.
So he could have came on a trajectory, but then he went down. He he flatlined, right? Lost a shoe deal, lost had to repair, lost trust of his wife or his family and stuff like that. And then he reemerged. He reemerged with that mentality. Said no matter what's going to happen. So I remember everybody. There's a couple places you remember. 9/11. You remember where you're at. I definitely remember when I got the news. It seemed like you just knew 2020 was just going to be a bad year, and then all of a sudden COVID hit. It was like, holy shit, this is horrible.
Yeah. J-Mac, you got something?
Nah, I agree. It was pretty tragic. It's not all the time you hear a father and his daughter losing their life at the same time. And everybody else who passed in that accident, again, condolences to them. A lot of people's families were affected.
Yes.
Including families of people that Kobe never even knew. The fans, us, the haters, the people who criticize them all the time.
Right.
The debaters, those that is he top 10, top 5?
Yeah.
And none of that stuff mattered at that time. You know what I mean? Like it just that didn't really matter. You know.
That's why I keep it basketball, because I don't need to talk about his court case or any of that stuff, because I met Kobe through the game of basketball.
Right.
I salute to his game and salute to what he did for the game. All the guys that are playing in the NBA now that are there just because of Kobe.
Right.
He was up with those guys that, they asked him who was their idol growing up. Kobe's right up there with LeBron and Jordan. So
Kobe Bryant was, if Jordan, for sake of being sound redundant, if Michael Jordan was to us as this generation of players is to Kobe, or Kobe is to this generation of players.
Right.
They saw him go through all that. You're talking everybody from Devin Booker to Jason Tatum to Griffin,
DeMar DeRozan,
Kyrie.
The list goes on and on, and
LeBron James,
Jason Tatum. You name it.
It just, and and again, thinking about it and just putting his, not just his career in perspective, but his life in perspective. The other thing I thought that kind of came out of his passing was just, you saw all these people who were really trying to get situations right with people they had beef with or that they had issue with. It was like, listen, this life, you don't know how life is going to go. So if you holding on to something from back in the day or whatever, like, let it go. The fact that he and Shaq were able to clear the air many years ago and be able to have at least a friendship and a relationship, that was important, because it was like, they had never worked that out. How would that? It would have been bad. Like, how would Shaq be dealing with that today? You know what I mean? And so it's like, it was just, and it's really hard to find, a silver lining when somebody passes away. But if, that incident, helped people get their lives together and get situations, rectified with folks, then, then some good did come out of it, as hard as it is to say, and you try to find that, in that space. And again, I don't think, obviously none of us never met Kobe or anything like that, but just knowing what we know about him, he was about, forward movement, and he was about, get better and grow every day. And that's what I think he would want, for us, and for for those that cared about him and loved him as a player and person, just to keep growing and getting better every day. So,
Not about it.
Any other, thoughts on Kobe? I don't know if anyone, out there is watching wants to come in and chat or, have some discussion about Kobe. If you are, you're welcome to come in. We may come back to this topic, again, depending on who comes in, but certainly, we are definitely remembering, Kobe being Bryant, on the 1 year or what will be the 1 year anniversary of his passing tomorrow. So we are now about 24 hours after the AFC NFC Championship games yesterday. We've had about 24 hours to process it. So, I know we went live last night to talk about some things, but anybody feeling any differently today about the AFC and NFC Championship games in the aftermath?
No. AFC, the Bills, and the Chiefs, that was expected, right? That was no surprise there in my eyes. Our discussion yesterday kind of brought to light that it seems like KC, they're like a boxer, they kind of wake up when they get that first clean punch, and then they get, okay, here we go. And it's time to activate. The NFC Championship, like you said, consistency was the key. We understand there was a pass interference on that last play. Yes. But damn, dog, can we just don't end it on a penalty? That's where you just kind of, okay, hold on, let's see what's going on here. Did I miss? It's easier to say I missed that one because it wasn't that egregious. And then to me, the ball didn't look catchable at all.
Which one?
Oh, the last play. I
think the last play where they called the pass interference.
Yeah.
Johnson did, the best acting job in the world. Which again, can't be mad with him. He sold it. The refs fell for it, of course, and it is what it is.
Let's just go. Did you check on Sean today, man? Did you check on him?
Sean?
Tom Brady's going to the Super Bowl, man. Did you check on him?
No. Why would I check on him? I fucking shit in his drink. I keep forgetting we're live, bro, because I'm only looking at a certain screen, so yeah. I keep forgetting we're live, bro. I'm sorry.
No, you probably had that was all good.
You probably would have said it if we went live. What's the problem?
Mike, glad you were able to join us. I know you had about 24 hours to.
Hold on, don't deflect. Are you okay?
Oh, I'm good, man. Hey, look, I don't got my shoelaces on, man. I got, I'm good. This don't come with shoelaces. I'm good.
Hey, did you break your foot off of Matt LaFleur's ass? Is that why you got the cast on?
I wanted to, man, but the cold messes with my arthritis, man. I ain't want to.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. I ain't want to make that trip.
Oh, good.
You hear it's his arthritis.
Yeah. Arthritis. Hey, you know English my second language, man. Don't play with me, man.
Hey, so real quick, I just want to get your thoughts on, obviously, you are a resident Packer fan. Just want to get your thoughts on yesterday's game.
Hey, man, I'll tell you, man. I thought about it today after watching First Take. And watching Undisputed, as much as I can't stand Skip Bayless, man.
Baseless. That's what we call Skip Baseless.
Yeah, Baseless. Yeah, man. I'll tell you, man. Green Bay had a lot of opportunities, man, to close the game, man. We had those opportunities, man. And at the end of the day, man, Jair Alexander showed up. The defense, made the plays they needed to play. That need to be made.
Definitely in the second half.
Right. They definitely made adjustments. Now I don't know about that call before the half. That you understand how many times I threw my cheese head, man. That thing it's got more holes than normal. But yeah, man. At the end of the day, man, I think we made the little mistakes that cost us, man. And you cannot. You got to give. What's up, Ed? That's my homeboy Devon right there, man.
Yeah, he's a
Welcome
resident. Yeah,
in.
absolutely.
You bro.
Hey, what's going on?
Salute, bro.
Salute, man. Thanks for joining, Reed. Thanks,
Hey,
bro.
no
Appreciate
problem.
you, man.
Hey, but
No
it's
problem
my
at
time
all.
right now, so stand fast. But no, but you got a Hall of Fame quarterback, man. And I don't care what anybody say. Yeah, he could have ran the ball, whatever. You still got to give the opportunity for him to fail. It's like we get taught in the military, right? You give the soldier a task, let them fall on their face, and then pick them back up. I feel like he never got that opportunity, man. He took that from him. And
Yes. Go ahead, Mike.
No, go ahead.
No, I wanted to ask you about that, man, because I remember, thinking when I watched the game, it was like, okay, got all 3 timeouts, you got the 2-minute warning, the defense has been playing well. You've been chasing that because you went for 2, you did get the 2-point conversion, you've been chasing that extra point all day. So it was like, okay, at least you take 3 here, you go down or you go up or you go down by 5, you get the ball back, you got a chance to go down and score, and at least in a position to make the Buffalo have to go down and try to tie the game with a field goal. So I thought it was actually a smart move, given that you had 3 timeouts in a 2-minute win, right? And again, given how the defense had played, in the second half, but you felt like he should have given Rodgers that chance,
right? And I'm going to say this, I like I said, I watched First Take, and I agree with Stephen A. Man, I think Stephen A. hit it on the nail, man. He said it'll be different if you were to give the ball back to Tom Brady and he had to kick a field goal or a touchdown. But all he needed was a first down. And this is one of the great, the GOAT, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, watch that word.
It'll be different if he had to score a touchdown or a field goal, but you don't want to give that man the ball back. Period. Right. Or if you do want to give him back, it's for that, exactly for that. To either kick a field goal or score a touchdown.
Right.
And I think Matt LaFleur, like Stephen A. said, Matt LaFleur, took that away from him, man. He and you can see it. You can see the frustration, and I was hot.
Yeah,
I was hot because it's not like they say that Aaron Rodgers choked. It's not like he threw some catchable passes that Devontae normally makes.
Right, the one in the end zone.
Right.
Yeah.
There was 2 of them. The one, the back shoulder one, it was kind of off a little bit, but it hit his hands. He could have made the catch. And then the one in the end zone where he lost. I guess he lost track of where he was in the end zone. So it wasn't like there were bad throws. They were just unfortunate they didn't go their way. So to say the man has throughout his career has made incredible passes in his career to end a game or to win a game.
Yeah,
this ain't the time to be conservative. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
You gotta, you play to win, or like a game of spades, right? You play to win.
Play to win. Play to win. Yeah. And Devon, I want to come to you, man. Get your thoughts on yesterday's games, either AFC or NFC Championship. What you got? Make sure you take
So as far as that NFC, I only really caught like the last few minutes of the fourth quarter, but I mean, I was getting updates and it seemed like it was a good game. And then I watched the highlights, and there was a lot of drop passes, especially them end zones. Like those was crucial. Like you had those in your hands and you dropped those. Those are pivotal. You need those. He catches those too, and Green Bay's moving on. But now that AFC game, I already had a feeling how that was going to play out. Like, I mean, I did kind of have the Packers beating Tampa Bay because I thought overall they were the better team. But I mean, once again, Tampa Bay proved people wrong when they was doubted, and I think they had more motivation because if I understand, one of the players lost his brother during the game too, so maybe it meant a little more for them internally that nobody really knew about. But as far as that AFC Championship game, that definitely went how I thought it was going to go. Patrick Mahomes, I didn't know if he was going to play because of the whole concussion protocol. But once I knew that he was in there with the way they've been playing, I thought they was going to do a real good job of handling. Now I thought it was going to go a little more battle than it was. I mean, Buffalo came back a little bit at the end, tried to put up something, but I mean, by then it's too late. You know, you got to play all 4 quarters, not just a quarter and a half.
Yeah, and I want to get y'all thoughts. You know, there was some obviously, you know, Monday morning quarterbacking going on today, particularly with Buffalo, around taking field goals inside the 10 when you're in Kansas City and you need touchdowns. You know, what did y'all think about the strategy by McDermott taking the field goals?
The moment got too big for him. He couldn't step back and just say, hey, you know, what am I up against here? I understand be able to understand who's on the other side of the ball, who's on the other side of that field, that sideline. You need to take your risk. You need to take your opportunity. So, I think maybe the moment got too big for him, and that was it.
He went down.
Yeah, I will agree with the Cisco, man. I think both McDermott and Matt LaFleur, to me, they're young, never been in that moment type of coaches. So when that heat in the moment, that moment is to win the game. You can't be conservative, man, because you're gonna lose. You know, especially when you're playing on the other side. You have, and this is an example, and this is going off of I'm going off the Packers game. You know, 4th and 1 before the half, before they threw that touchdown to your boy. Kevin, yep. You know, Tom Brady said, "Let's go for it." You know, is that moment that execute, and Bruce Arians been in the playoffs before. He knows what it takes to. He's been in that other side before when Aaron Rodgers threw 2 Hail Marys on him when he was coach for Arizona. Yeah. So he knows what that moment is. So, but Tom Brady went out, and maybe that's one thing that Aaron Rodgers failed to do. Maybe he wasn't aggressive enough to go to the coach and say, "Hey, let's go for it," because I didn't see that interaction. So again, it goes to the rookie. I didn't say the rookie, but the experience in the playoffs to make those type of decisions. You can't kick field goals when the other team is scoring touchdowns. It just mathematically it's not going to work, right? So
yeah, and I mean, I think especially against a team like Kansas City, who you know they play balls to the wall. Right. I mean, they leave it out there. So yeah. And
I do got one thing, man. I totally forgot about that. I just got to mention this, man, before, but because I'm still kind of heated, man.
No, let it out. This is your therapy.
Yeah, if I would have went on yesterday, man. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we wanted you on that one, bro.
No, you didn't want me on that one, man. My whole family got in my Odyssey and took off, man. I'm telling you, they got in that Odyssey and they left, man. Consistent, man. The referees got to be consistent when making calls, man. And to me, we had several bad calls on our end that weren't called, and I was okay with it, whatever, because you know, as long as you're playing at both ends. But to end the game like that, especially when the defensive player was being held, that should have been an offset, redo the down, if anything, and I would have been okay with that. But to end it like that, man, to me, oh man, you don't understand, man. I was so hot.
I can imagine, and I mean, for me, it took me back a couple years ago to the NFC Championship game with the Saints and the Rams when they clearly did not call that pass, and everybody and their mama saw that was pass interference, and they did not call it, and it was like, okay, so they're trying not to decide the game.
But that was egregious.
And that was egregious. Like it was.
That was like Noah in the ark coming down. Hey, can you park my boat?
Yeah,
I mean, you can't. How'd you miss that?
Yeah, I mean, it was as bad as Monique and Daisy Dukes. Like it was terrible. Like it was the worst thing I ever seen in my life. What I will say is no respect to Monique. I'm sorry, that was inappropriate. But anyway, whatever.
I thought it was fucking funny. Fuck it.
My fault. That's my bad. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, but yeah, it was like the consistency with what you're talking about, Mike. The idea you hadn't really called, you let them play the entire game, and the Bucs have been getting away with it the entire game. And even on the interception to Lazard, the guy was putting 23. Murphy Bunting was pulling Lazard's shoulder pad out before he makes the pick. And I'm like, come on, if you're gonna call the game like that, let's be that way the entire game. And to wait until within the last minute and a half of the game to make that call was just,
And that's not even including the one your boy Devin White when he held Devontae Adams on that last play where Aaron Rodgers was rolled out to the pocket where he could have ran when he threw it to double cover. He had got held before that pass even happened. So technically, it should have been first and goal right off the bat. But you know what? We can't. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. At the end of the day, that happened. Tom Brady's back in the damn Super Bowl again. Ain't nobody want to see it. I'm going for Patrick Mahomes. I hope they blow him out. That's all I'm saying.
And I hope they fucking cripple that motherfucker.
Man, I keep telling y'all, man. Y'all keep giving the defensive coordinator a pass, man. Nobody gives up a touchdown right before the half. It just won't happen.
Number 20 does. Number 20 does. Number 20. What that is, number 20?
I don't care about that call.
No.
I do not care about it.
But again, remember, if you look at the Packers secondary, Amos, Savage, and Jair Alexander are very, very good players. They went after Kevin King intentionally. That was their game plan, to go after
the whole game, because he wasn't 100% healthy. That's why they brought up Tremont Williams from the practice squad. I thought he was gonna start because he had a lower back injury. Yeah. So I'm like, you cannot be playing against these type of receivers that Tampa Bay has, and you got a lower back injury. Just not gonna work. Yeah. And they that, man.
I agree. But you can put wide receivers back there. Just don't give up the deep ball.
Right.
Well, right. You just don't give up that deep ball. Right before that one play is one of those plays that you can say cost the game.
Yep.
Because that normally does not happen right before a half, even if it is a turnover. You don't get 50 yards.
Yeah, but I mean, if you just think about it traditionally, right? Just think about it. Most teams at fourth and one in the middle of the field with 13 seconds left in the half, they're going to punt. They're like, and they were up. They're like, we're going to punt. We're not even going to risk anything happening here. So my guess is, and again, I'm just guessing from Green Bay's point of view, they were not expecting that, and Mike Pettin probably didn't have a call in place for that moment. And again, it just speaks to, again, the aggressiveness of Brady and Arians to go for it at that moment. But it's just, I mean, how many teams have practiced and prepared in that situational football moment?
That's what I'm saying. That's situational football. That it shouldn't even been a guess game. It's a make sure that nobody beats you deep game. I don't care what they playing up front. You got to have that secondary so they cannot give up that deep ball. That's just simple football. If you want to overcomplicate it and say, well, if they do this, 13 seconds left. 13. You don't give up that deep ball, bro. Period. You just don't.
And listen, I'll tell you who that benefited. It didn't benefit the Bucs. It benefits the Chiefs, because you think they're not going to be prepared for that nonsense in 2 weeks. I'm just saying.
I tell you, man, when that happened, my soul left my body, man. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it, man. I was like, first of all, I don't like Mike Pettit. He doesn't make a lot of defense adjustments throughout the game. Like, he always plays that should have been a zone coverage, period.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was 8 seconds left. If anything, in my mind, I was like, they're going to try to kick a field goal. They're going to try to get a couple more yards to make it a more realistic field goal.
Exactly.
You still play zone coverage on that and keep everything in front of you.
Keep everything in front of you, yeah.
Because it's not like you got a scrambler behind you or behind the offensive line.
Exactly.
You got a living fucking statue.
It's crazy.
Literally.
Don't worry.
Literally. Yeah. Yeah. So,
and then going to the Kansas City game, and I'll start Packers for next year. When we draft another quarterback, maybe, I don't know. And like I said, I think I said it the day before yesterday when we did the broadcast. Kelsey, man, was going to be X factor. I said there ain't nobody going to stop that dude.
It's Kelsey or Tyreek Hill.
Either or, you can pick. They both did their thing.
I don't think Kelsey has as much success if Tyreek Hill is not there.
Listen, no. Tyreek Hill ran through that Buffalo defense like hot Indian food. It was terrible. they had no answer.
They complement each other really well, man. I'll tell you that. Yeah. That whole team, man.
One is slow, one is fast. Absolutely.
That's it, man.
Yeah, it was like, but again, it goes back to what we were talking about the other night, Friday night. like Andy Reid's play design and his ability to find ways to get scheme guys open, and obviously having Mahomes back there, it's just a long day for defenses. And again, Buffalo run the football with anybody but Josh Allen.
Yeah. I just felt like there was a lot of too much. They put too much pressure on Josh Allen in that type. And we talked about it. The stage is too bright for him at this point. Not 2 years from now, I could see it, but right now they're asking for him to do too much.
Right.
You know. So
yeah,
it was good. It was a good game for him, though. I think
he played well.
Yeah, I think he showed a lot of heart.
But you can tell, and I say the stage was too bright for him because you could tell on some of the sacks he took like 15, 30 yards. You know, Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady would have threw the ball away.
Right.
So he was just trying to do too much. I felt like that was a lot of pressure on him to try to do too much.
He was a young kid, so excited to be in that position. You know, not every young quarterback, you know, can get on a team that is dwindling and be able to bring them back up, you know, and play on that type of stage like that. So when you get on that type of stage, you just want to do everything that you can. I mean, it goes with making mistakes too. You know, when you get too excited and your decision making kind of gets thrown off at times, you know, and you make crazy plays. But I mean, it's just the excitement in the atmosphere to be in that type of position that we win this game, we go to the Super Bowl, which Buffalo hasn't been in Lord knows how long. So for him to bring back that type of atmosphere to that city, you know, he's just trying to leave everything out there. So, and I mean, of course,
and they're definitely going to be contenders for many years to come. That's for sure. And you can see it, you know, especially when Diggs stayed out after for the celebration afterwards. You know, that's a telling sign that they want that. They want to be that they want to be in that stage. So I totally see it. I mean, Josh Allen's going to be Josh Allen and Mahomes for many years.
Yeah,
that's the new Tom Brady and Peyton Manning right there.
I think that's presumptuous as far as saying Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, because you still got this guy named Watson. You don't know where he's going to go. Right. And then you're going to have Fields. You got Lawrence coming in. Then whoever goes to AFC, whoever goes to the Colts, if they're at least an above average quarterback, let's just say, i.e. Matt Stafford, I think he ends up going to the Colts, that's going to be fucking ridiculous.
We'll take him.
Well, that's a very interesting topic you brought up because we got to talk about this quarterback shuffle.
Before that, I think are we being this a little bit too harsh on Matt LaFleur?
No, bro. No.
Are you serious? You don't think so?
No. Well, he will.
Yeah, hold on. How long has he been there? What was it like prior to? And so you guys have been to back-to-back NFC championships. That's, you know, prior to him getting there.
Oh man, I'm spoiled, man. It's Super Bowl or bust.
It's title time. You don't call it title time.
Title time, man. And how many Vince Lombardi trophies does San Francisco have? Yeah, it's named after a Packer, man. So if it's not a Super Bowl,
not for long. Not for long. It's called the fucking Belichick, man. He's been called the fucking Belichick. It might be. They might just shorten be like B&B for Brady and Belichick. Don't get that twisted.
But in reality, I mean, if you think about it, he's been to 2 straight NFC Championship games. And again, I thought after what happened last year in the NFC Championship game, not to throw salt in the wound, Mike, but I thought, okay, yeah, at least in this one, he's had the experience of it. He knows what he's walking into. You know, they're going to leave it, and it's at home. So it's like, listen, you're at home. I get playing a little conservatively on the road in San Francisco, but at home in the frozen tundra, and you got a warm weather team coming, you gotta. I mean, I thought the criticism he's getting is actually a little deserved because I just was expecting more.
So he can't control how Aaron Jones fumbles the ball. He can't control that. He can't control.
But that's the thing. The thing is, we recovered from that. That's the thing.
Okay, you recovered. Okay, I got you. I understand. He can't control the drop passes in the end zone. He can't control the fact that, and then, 3 opportunities, bro. Brady threw 3 interceptions, which he's, I guess, is a new recipe for winning championship games. That's the only thing he does is throw interceptions in the championship
So let
game.
me ask you a question as a senior NCO.
Why you gotta put that out there, bro?
No. If your soldier get in trouble, who gonna be in the office with the commander?
Not me. I'm fucking getting the fuck out.
You gonna get the heat just like everybody else.
No, bring his mom up in here.
He is to blame.
Bring his mom up in here. Bring his mama. He's the one to decide to go ahead and drink that drink and get in that car and decide to go to sleep at a stoplight.
Did you counsel him? Did you give him counseling? Because I want.
Yeah, I did. Actually, just like LaFleur came up with a scheme, and you can't say he didn't improve. He improved from last year. He was 13-3, same record as last year.
Same record as last year.
Didn't get past the NFC Championship. I don't see no improvement.
What was your record before you got there?
Huh?
What was your record before you got there?
Who, the Packers record?
Yeah, the Packers record.
We didn't make the playoffs
before he got there.
Yeah, before that, the last year McCarthy.
Yeah, last year McCarthy, it was pretty bad.
And next year, next year, what happened?
We went 13-3 and lost an NFC Championship. And then this year, we 13-3 and lost an NFC Championship. There's no improvement. If you don't win the Super Bowl, it doesn't matter, man.
Hey, are we recording this? We're recording this, right? That's just so.
You got home field advantage. You got what you wanted. You got the best. You got the MVP quarterback, and you took the ball away from the MVP quarterback.
He took the ball away, bro. So this is where I end up trying. I guess it's because I'm the soft. It's the soft side of me, bro. I have no idea. But it just seems to me, you get a coach. The coach then takes a trash franchise, takes him to back-to-back NFC championships.
Was it the coach, or do you think it's the quarterback that had a little bit to do with that?
I don't even know how to answer that question. I don't answer that question.
I think it's got to be a combination of the two. If you look at schematically what they were running under McCarthy, which was, just blah, vanilla, basic, and you look at what they're running under LaFleur, which is a lot of what Shanahan and Sean McVay run in San Francisco and the Rams, and obviously, Cisco, you of all people know how diverse that offense can look.
Oh, yeah. You're welcome, by the way, because he came on Shanahan. You're welcome.
Oh, we'll take him. He just didn't show up and perform this year.
What? Okay, so this is almost. I don't understand.
Are you a Packers fan?
No, fuck the Packers. I'm sorry. Let me readjust myself. Fuck the Packers.
You better be careful, man. Aaron Rodgers might end up in San Francisco.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there.
You are not gonna like that, Cisco. You know that. You ain't gonna like it.
Are you serious? I'm not gonna like that.
No,
when I saw who they picked first, they picked Alex Smith. Don't give me a start on that part. But you're telling me though, so just compare it to the Golden State Warriors, right? Just compare it to the Golden State Warriors. Mark Jackson, went from Don Nelson to Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson established a culture there that was great and
defensively,
yeah. Great. But they made it to the first round of playoffs. Got bounced. I think the second round of playoffs. So they did make the playoffs under his, and then
their first round bounce.
Then Coach Kerr comes in,
diversifies the offense.
Championship. So the only thing you're missing is just the championship piece.
I actually have enough here.
So to say that you blame him, Matt LaFleur, and you didn't see no improvement, to me is just one is unfair. You know what I'm saying? Because if a player comes in, if the situation was reversed, if there was Aaron Rodgers was a rookie quarterback or Pat Mahomes came in there and Matt LaFleur was there and he took off, we'll be giving all praises to Patrick Mahomes. But because the coach, who after 2 years took you to the championship game, the NFC championship game, we're saying we're just gonna get rid of him. He didn't, he's not gonna get rid of him. But
I didn't say get rid of him.
Okay, but you see what I'm saying though? You're just
I just said they came up short. And when you came up short, you're to blame to come up short. Especially when you had the opportunity to either tie the game Or, I mean, if when you're the head coach, you're the coach of the whole team. That includes the defensive coordinator, special teams, and everybody else that's involved. Right?
Okay, so I call the play. Play called. Nothing happens. Or they technically they get held or whatever like that, especially on that one. But you got the ball back 3 times.
Yeah, I'm specifically talking about the 4th and 8th down. You took the ball away from Aaron Rodgers. You didn't give the man an opportunity to. If that was Tom Brady and Bruce Arians would have said, Tom Brady, make it happen. And again, it goes back to the lack of experience to me. And he said in the press conference, you can see it in his face. He's like, I messed that up. I messed up. So he's taking ownership. You're the only one not taking ownership. You're the only one not agreeing with that. He took ownership. He said, I'm the one to blame. I regret not making that call.
Devon, talk to your boy.
Huh?
Devon,
I mean,
am I wrong?
I mean, he's not lying. I mean, he did take ownership for it. He said, like, maybe I should have made a different call, but I didn't. So you can't take it back. But I mean, we know across all sports, it doesn't matter. People don't really care what happened the year prior. They only know what's currently going on. That's why Kerr always gets more of the respect, not Mark Jackson. It's because Kerr was there when the great things happened, not what happened prior to that. Nobody cared how they built through the draft and made proper trades and stuff like that to build that environment that Mark Jackson was setting the tone for. Yeah, they didn't make it how he wanted them to make it. But, at the end of the day, that always comes back on the coach. When a team is not doing good and they've been practicing and you're running all types of schemes, you're writing up all types of plays, and you're always falling short, at the end of the day, it always falls back, not accountability for the players to execute, but it always falls back on the coaches because they look at them like they're not executing. And I always feel the same way too. Like a coach can write up plays all day long, but he's not the one shooting. He's not the one throwing the ball. He's not the one running. He's not the one blocking. He's not the one catching. But whenever there's anything that goes wrong, he's the first one that everybody looks at, and they're either ready to get him out of there, to get somebody new in there, or reprimand him in some type of way to go at him. You don't really see players, just very few, that get looked at like that and talked about like that, like, oh, well, maybe they need to trade him or something like that. They don't get that. But when it happens to the team overall, they're ready to fire coaches. They're ready to get rid of coaches. But then there's not that much player accountability across sports like that.
Well, I mean, there's an old adage in sports: players win, coaches lose. And we don't always put it on that sometimes players lose and coaches actually do coach to win, but players don't make plays. So I agree with you, and I want to, Devon, while you're here, I want to ask you because you can't. Well, we lost him. Okay.
Yeah, I want to, Cisco. What I would say, I would agree with you, but the reason why I don't cut no slack on them because they didn't cut slack on Tony Dungy.
Yeah, but he made it.
Tony Dungy. I mean, he made a great example about Kerr from Mark Jackson. They only know it now. Tony Dungy left and went to Indianapolis. That's why I'm there now. They won right after that with his team that he built, he put together. You know what I mean?
And you know what? I want to clear this narrative up right now. Everybody says, well, John Gruden came in and fixed the offense. And I said, let's be very clear, first of all. I said, you know how many points the Bucs offense averaged the last year Tony Dungy was the head coach? 20.3 points per game. You know how many points the offense averaged the first year with Gruden, the year they won the Super Bowl? 21.3 points per game. I said it wasn't him fixing the offense. It was the defense becoming more opportunistic and scoring more and getting more turnovers. It was already a dominant defense, but they started scoring. That was the difference. It was not John Gruden coming in fixing the offense because that is the worst. That's not true. But either way, I want to come back to Devon because I want to ask you why we got you, man. We started this stream off talking about Kobe. Obviously tomorrow is the 1 year anniversary of his passing. So I just want to get your thoughts on Kobe and just kind of his legacy and what you think.
Great player, arguably one of the greatest of all times. Definitely a dominant force. His passion drove everything that he did on and off the court. I mean, it's almost like, to me, as much as I, am a Jordan fan, of course, but to me, he's like the next best thing to Jordan. I mean, he's like a splitting image of Jordan. I mean, yeah, he's accomplished a little more, in his career on a like certain things than Jordan has overall, like within the communities and stuff like that. He was more out there than Jordan was. Jordan was pretty selfish in that manner, and he's even spoke about that himself later in life. But, Kobe was just a type of player to me who had that Jordan type presence about himself. Like, when you knew you were playing against Kobe, dudes kind of dreaded that matchup, because it's like, how can you can't stop a dude like that. He can only stop himself. That's how good he was. It's like some people, you can actually shut those guys down. They're good scorers, but against great D, you can shut them down. To me, Kobe's the type of individual that you can't shut him down. Even trying to contain him, sometimes it's impossible. You have to let him take himself out. He's that type of individual. He commands that type of presence. Like, as great as LeBron is, and as great as some of these other players are and who they're coming into, I just think like a talent like Kobe is something that, a presence like that is something that you probably won't see for a very long time. And that's not to take nothing away from these guys now who are, they're doing great things. They're making their marks. And they're doing everything that they can to become the best of themselves. But to me, I've always said in my eyes, Jordan was always my GOAT, hands down. But I always felt Kobe was the number 2 guy. Like, if there was to be a number 1 and it wouldn't have been Mike, to me it would have been Kobe. And that's how I always viewed him.
Hey, Devon, a question for Devon. It's a 2-part question. One, what player today in today's game reminds you or seems to have that same type of game style? How Kobe was the transition from Michael. Who do you see now, or what players can you think of off the top of your back? J-Mac, for you too, what players do you see as far as having that type of mentality, that drive? Because one thing Kobe said, while he was a skilled player, he was able to identify his weaknesses, work on those weaknesses, and make it to where, like you said, he was almost impossible to shut down. And he understood what you were going to do defensively, so he schemed against it. But I just wanted to say, hey, who in your mind, game today, who in the game today kind of reminds you or has that same type of Kobe-esque aura about themselves, or drive, or game? Excuse me.
That's a great question, because I mean, you could throw a few people in that kind of category. Like, you can throw LeBron in that category, because he took a lot of hits a long time for being, too unselfish, or not being a shooter like that and things like that, or not having a good post game, or not being able to take over games when it's truly needed. And throughout his career, even now, he's always played at a high level. Clearly, you can tell he's definitely a factor you have to worry about when it comes to him shooting. His post game is way better. His game has just improved year in and year out, and he works on himself constantly, to stay at that high level of play. You can throw in other players like a Damian Lillard. You can see the improvement in his game over the years since he's come into the NBA. You can look at a CJ McCollum or a Bradley Beal, who, these guys are not the focal points of their teams, but they're just as an important piece as that star on their team. And you can tell the improvements in their games over the year. Then you have some of these young stars that are showing the potential to get better, like a young Colin Sexton and what he was able to pull off with the Nets 2 games back to back, against that type of dynamic. He's showing that, he wants to be somebody who is going to be in this league for a long time and show his presence, when in the beginning coming in, you wouldn't have been able to say that he would be as good as he is right now. You know what I mean? So, it's really hard to really say, like, these guys have that mentality, because I mean, everybody knows no matter what sport you play in, if you want to be that great player, you're going to put in that work regardless. And it doesn't have to have a title to say, that's a Kobe mentality or a Jordan mentality or, a Deion Sanders mentality or Jerry Rice or any of these great players, because clearly you're not those players. You're yourself,
right.
But it's just having that in you to want to rise to that next level and not settle for that mediocreness like some players do. Right. Some players fall into that comfortable role when they reach a certain small point where they look like they're getting to a certain place, and then they never break that ceiling.
Right.
Some players, they may have those high expectations right off the bat, and you think it's going to be great, and they turn out to be nothing. Mm-hmm. Then there's those guys who nobody even knows who you are, like a Tom Brady, but you get an opportunity and you're being called the greatest of all times. So I think it's all, to me, it's learning from those who came before you, implementing it into your own style, but as well keep in mind of the players that you're currently playing with now and what they're bringing to the table, because those are the guys that you have to match up with for the next few years and stuff like that. And I think a lot of players, because I remember I was talking to my wife about this, a lot of players, like, I know we sit here and say like, oh, well, this guy's a bum, this guy's garbage. I have a certain level of respect for those who do get drafted, because you have to be at a certain skill level to get considered to be drafted. So if you get, if you get drafted by a team, you should consider that a milestone, because out of the millions of players there are in the world, only a certain amount of players get drafted in any sport.
Millions around the world.
Yeah, so you should take that as a certain milestone. But now to continue to stay in that league, to stay on that level, it takes constant improvement. As we can see from how we watched sports growing up to how sports are now, it's a lot more dynamic now. So some of the things you may have been one-dimensional 20 years ago, you can't be that one-dimensional these days. You have to be more than one-dimensional.
Yeah, you have to be 4D.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be able to play on many different levels. When it comes to your scoring ability has to be on more than one level. Right. And me, and I tell people this all the time, me being a diehard Melo fan, that's where he lacked. He's a dynamic scorer. He's a dynamic scorer.
There you go.
He's a dynamic scorer, but when it comes to the defensive ability, he lacked. He never had the mentality or the maturity to say, you know what? I see my peers is improving to catch up with me on the offensive level. Let me step up my defensive level, because, I mean, clearly, if the better your defensive skill is for a lot of players, the easier it can make your offensive set. As you see some of these two-way players like a Kawhi Leonard, a Paul George, dudes like that, who are two-way players, they're great. They're offensively gifted and they're defensively gifted. But if you're only offensively gifted, it's only going to take you but so far. And that's where Melo went wrong in his career. And that's why he didn't amass the success and the recognition that he could have, because he chose to stay and only focus on a certain point of his game instead of the total body of work that he needed. So
yeah, that's a great parallel comparison with Melo. J-Mac, to you next, man. Who out there do you see right now that is pattern his? We can go his or her, but we'll stick with the NBA right now. pattern their game, who can you say is closely who is holding that? Who could be the next? I hate to say next Kobe. I hate to say that, but whose game pattern, whose drive, whose steady improvement, kind of emulates or similar. I'm coming to you next, Mike. But Jenna, who you got? I got one for everybody. I got one that I think everybody's slipping on.
It's kind of hard, but for me, I gotta say Devin Booker.
Oh man, light-skinned brother.
The more I watch him, he's a night in, night out guy.
100%.
He's that guy that when you play them, if you can contain him, you got a good chance of winning. Mm-hmm. But here's the problem. Now he has Chris Paul with him. So he's going to soak up that knowledge. And if he can improve defensively, we saw what he did in the bubble. And you see the constant improvements. But this guy literally can take the ball from end to end, no matter what, outrun everybody, score in multiple different ways. If he develops a better post game, I just think the sky's the limit for him. He's young. He goes hard, and he gets his numbers all the time. So, yeah, I got to say Devin Booker.
Mike, what's up, bro? Who you got out there?
All right, so before I get my name, I want to share something with the group.
No, you share with the world now. It's on YouTube. You're online,
with the world, not with
the world. With the world, Craig.
So, I'm not a Kobe fan because I like Devon. I'm a Jordan fan, but Kobe's like he said, the closest thing to Jordan, in my opinion. So my brother is serving a life in prison, but he's very artistic, and he made this for me. I don't know if y'all can see that real quick.
We see it.
Yeah.
Leave right there. You're good.
Can you put him on the big screen?
Yeah. Can you see it?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So he made that for me, but that's not the only one he made for me. That was mine. That's staying here. This one right here.
That's how
share with the group, with the world.
Oh yeah. Damn.
He's got skills, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
So that being said, I'm gonna answer your question, man. I think Kobe to me is got that killer instinct like Michael Jordan, man. Right. Give him the ball. There's only a few people that I will say, with 5 seconds left, who I get the ball to. Jordan being one, Kobe being number two, just because of that killer instincts, man. But I will say the person that I think mimics that, and unfortunately doesn't have the supporting cast, is Damian Lillard. I think Damian Lillard has that killer instincts. He's got that swag, and he's got the abilities to make those buckets. So I would say Damian Lillard just because of his killer instincts mentality, and what I've seen in the past with him, and plus he can rap. He's the best rapper in the NBA.
Hey, they say Kobe is the best rapper in the NFL, though, but that's neither here nor there. Sean, who you got, man? Who do you see as far as who patterns parallels a game? Who is the closest one to Kobe currently in the NBA?
So before I answer your question, I want to respond to two things that Devon said. First, I want to thank a Melo fan for finally giving an honest assessment about Carmelo Anthony, because no Carmelo Anthony fan ever does that. Not now. All of them cap for Carmelo Anthony. No. So thank you for that. But the second thing,
no problem.
Yeah, but the second thing is that did you say that Kobe is the spitting image of Michael? Or is that what were those your words?
Facts. And if I quote Mike correctly, he even says himself that the only player that he could ever see beat him one-on-one is Kobe, because Kobe mirrored his game pretty much like Mike. But Kobe has mentioned that himself as well in an interview, that he pretty much modeled his game after Mike. But just, outside of that, the reason he reached the pinnacle he did, of course, was through his work ethic.
Yeah, so I just wanted to just, say that, Kobe wanted to be Jordan so bad he tried to marry Juanita. So let's, we know this, okay? Like he wanted to be Jordan like really bad. So, whatever. It's fine.
That's so I'm surprised nobody's on the panel has picked this up or even said his name.
I got it for you. No, the guy and again, it's not apples to apples, but the guy for me who, you can tell he's watched Kobe. I know he worked out with Kobe, is Jason Tatum. When you watch his footwork, when you watch his mid-range game,
light skin.
He's it's fine.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no.
That's people too, bro.
No,
That's right, J-Mac, light skin, bro.
Yeah, no, it's fine. No, but Tatum is just, but a lot of it is his footwork.
You go with that BS.
Is if you watch a lot of his counters when he catches in the pinch post and in the mid-range, he has a lot of Kobe in his game. What he doesn't have yet necessarily is he doesn't necessarily have that consistent defensive focus.
Yeah. None of the guys he mentioned have that defensive focus. I agree.
But from an offensive standpoint, Tatum is probably the closest for me.
That was my pick. I thought
Hey,
Devon
that was
for sure was going to name him.
Nah, that you know what? Me being a Duke fan too. I don't know how I missed out on him, but that is a great assessment. He's definitely improved drastically since his rookie season.
Oh, absolutely.
And I mean, yeah, man, I could definitely see that. He's definitely going to be a force in this league for a while, as long as he keeps that. But like you said, defensively, he's still got a lot to work on there, and yeah, man, I think too, better decision making on offense, because some of them plays last year in the bubble against Miami, some of that decision making he was doing, like he was getting it, but then sometimes I kind of felt like, you should have taken a better, like that dunk he tried to do on Adebayo. If it was me, I probably would have went more for the contact and did like a up and under type move rather than just go for the dunk, or at least fake the dunk, to kind of throw him off. But I mean, when you in the zone and you feeling it, I kind of get it. You know what I mean? But that's a great choice, though. That is a great choice, though.
And what he does have from Kobe is he does have Kobe's volume shooting mentality, because he is not necessarily the most efficient guy, and neither was Kobe. And so I think that's the other thing that he's going to have to, as the game gets more drawn to analytics and looking at, effective field goal percentage and things of that nature, he's going to have to, really work on his shot selection. But I think just in terms of some of the fundamentals, he's got a lot of Kobe's fundamentals in this game.
Who, Kyrie?
No, for Jason Tatum.
Oh, you want to talk about Kyrie?
No, not this time. But I will say, history has been made tonight, because I have met a Black Duke fan, and I have never met a Black Duke basketball fan. So history has been made tonight, Devon. So I appreciate that, because ain't too many. That's neither here nor there. It's fine.
Yeah. I'm a diehard Duke fan, man. Diehard Duke fan.
Hey, Devon, you on fire, man. Duke fan. You talked about Carmelo. You on the roll, man.
Yeah, you on the roll.
Yeah.
You're on the roll.
Carmelo's my guy, man. I've been watching him. Look, I'm a type of guy, man. I be watching YouTube all day. I watch these high school kids. I've been watching cats since they've been in middle school. Like Colin Sexton, I've been watching this dude since he's been in high school, killing. I watched the game he played against. Whose son was that? Penny Hardaway's son, and told Penny his son was trash. And proceeded to dominate on him. So I've been watching these dudes for like, that's what I do, man. I watch YouTube. I watch high school level males and females basketball. It don't matter. Basketball is basketball to me. It's basketball. I'm watching it. Period.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, no. Hey,
but listen, man, I gotta take off, man. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys, man. Definitely. Next time y'all get on, man, send me that link so I can join up with you guys.
Hey, man,
welcome back and chop it up,
bro.
man.
Welcome anytime.
Yeah, Wednesday night.
All right, man.
Back on.
I know what you really be doing at work, watching YouTube.
At least he's been to work.
All right, man. Y'all have a good evening.
Hey, you
All right, man.
All right, later.
Hey, so we definitely, I know I don't want to spend too much time tonight, but we definitely got to talk this quarterback shuffle. And Mike, I want to come to you first, and then Cisco, we'll kind of bounce around from there if you're okay with that. Just kind of given some of Aaron Rodgers' comments yesterday. I know he might have been kind of in the emotion of the game, things like that. Do you, as the resident Packer fan, feel like Aaron Rodgers has possibly played his last game in Packer uniform?
He'll be back one more year because of the financial reasons for it.
Yeah.
I don't say this just because Francisco's there, but I honestly think he'll be the year after next. He'll be in San Francisco. That's just my opinion. There's been too many. The way the draft has been going, I don't feel like he probably feels the same way as everybody else thinks, that they're not giving them enough weapons or enough to make it to that chip. So I think he'll play one more year just because of the cap space, and then after that he'll be on his way to San Francisco possibly.
Yeah, and they were saying there's a possibility that he could work with the organization to kind of restructure so the cap hit isn't that hard on the Packers, but also if you look at the Packers' history, they've had a tendency to work with, like when they worked with Brett Favre, trading to the Jets. He was traded to the Jets because he asked to go to the Jets or the Vikings. So they have a history of doing that. So I think if there's some give and take in terms of both sides, that Aaron Rodgers could, if he needed to be traded this year or this offseason, could conceivably go where he wants. So,
as much as I hate to see it, but at the end of the day, I think I told Francisco this before the season even started. I was like, once they drafted Love, man, I was like, if I was Aaron Rodgers, I will ask for a trade so they can see how valuable he really is. But I'm a football fan first, and then I'm a Packer fan. So
right, yeah.
I think he'll win a championship if he go to San Francisco for sure. Because that defense. I mean, Jimmy took him to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, what's up, sis? I thought you were still on. I didn't know you were still on. My bad, man.
That's all right. I'll kick your fucking other ankle. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You got one boot on.
We got this crazy quarterback shuffle, and I think Cisco, I might have had this conversation with you a few months ago that I made a prediction. I told you, I said, I think there will be in the next 2 years, by 2 years from now, there'll be at least 16 new starting quarterbacks for teams that they weren't starting before 2 years ago. And it seems like we're kind of heading down that road. What are your thoughts on Rodgers and Stafford and Watson? Where do you see them headed?
Well, if Rodgers leaves, that's just asinine. That just doesn't make sense to me. Well, you haven't even sniffed the playoffs, and not even the back-to-back championship games. So that doesn't make sense to me. You can't do that, right? And this kind of leans to his temperament, and that little ego. Rightfully so, he has the ego. One of the best quarterbacks, arguably definitely top 10, or it could be in that top 10 discussion of all time. Stafford, don't get me wrong. If Stafford comes over, next to Aaron Rodgers, I don't see anybody else with that type of arm talent. So if they're able to restructure a deal or somewhere like that, or however they bring him over, I like Stafford more than I like Aaron Rodgers. The reason why, Stafford, he has that rally behind the leader attitude. Rodgers is the type of guy that it's in my opinion, he whenever he's going great, he's great to be around, but he just doesn't have that motivation to get the guys behind him. You know what I'm saying? When it comes down to trying to rally the troops per se. So I would prefer Stafford. Don't get me wrong, I would welcome fucking Aaron Rodgers, and I hope we win 7 because that means no Cowgirl fan can come talk to me ever again in their motherfucking life. And damn sure no Raven fan. I don't know why we talk about Ravens. They wouldn't even have fucking 4 Super Bowls. I'm sorry.
Well, they're still a fairly young organization. That's neither here nor there. J-Mac, I want to come to you on this one. If you're the Packers, and if you're looking at the situation, and Mike, I want you to chime in on this as well. If you're the Packers, you look at the situation, you're saying, listen, we got an aging quarterback. We've gone to 2 straight NFC Championship games. Have we reached our ceiling with Aaron Rodgers, given that he's aging as our quarterback first? And then second, is his draft value going to be higher than it is now? Because as he gets older, what are teams going to be willing to give up for, a guy who's obviously aging, as Aaron Rodgers is?
You think Green Bay's gonna get a black quarterback?
They have one.
A starting one.
He's light skinned though, right, Francisco?
Yeah.
No, he's Sean complexion.
Nah, I don't think he should go nowhere, personally.
But I mean,
especially if he's an Asian quarterback, but Green Bay hasn't done a whole lot to prepare themselves for moving on with Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion. Unless you're going to get a young guy a shot. But I'm with Cisco. Aaron Rodgers has at least 2 good years left. They're a couple plays away from getting to the Super Bowl. He's an icon in Green Bay. What, you want to get Matt Stafford up in there to start? No. You don't. Even DeShaun Watson, not his type of style to play in that cold weather with Green Bay. I would run it back. You get that close, you got to run it back.
I agree with MC, man. You got. I think everybody's just So do I think with Matt LaFleur coming in, if he had, Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't say Jimmy Garoppolo, if he had, somebody else, would they be able to make it to back-to-back NFC Championships without Aaron Rodgers? No, I'm not fooling myself.
So
that's why.
The only reason I'm saying this, he'll play one more year, and the reason because you got to think about it. Aaron Jones is probably not going to re-sign. Green Bay don't have the cap space for it. Right. We're probably going to lose Corey Lindsey, our starting center.
Right.
And then we got Kevin Keane is gone. So our team is going to be completely different next year.
Right.
So that's why I say because of the cap, because Green Bay is just we don't believe in free agency.
Free agency doesn't believe in you guys because it's too fucking cold.
Besides Charles Woodson and Reggie White, yeah, I agree.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So to me, after this year, the Green Bay is going to be a different team next year.
Yeah.
We're going to try to establish AJ Dillon's running game. Who else? Who's going to be the starting running back? That alone would change the dynamic of that offense.
But they're decent running backs. They're not bad. They just got
but they're not Aaron Jones though. That's what I'm saying. AJ Dillon's not Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones started out slow.
Right.
He hit the scene real quick. Just boom.
Yeah. And go ahead, Mike.
No, so he's got, Aaron Jones got that versatility. He can catch, he can run. He's a small dude. He can run through the tackles and he can break tackles for his size.
Right.
Who else can do that? AJ Dillon, we haven't seen enough yet.
No.
So So once Aaron Jones leaves, who we have? That alone is going to change the dynamic of the offense.
Right.
I think you guys had this guy. Matt LaFleur's had one draft, maybe 2.
Right.
But I mean, come on. I mean, you're saying that they don't look at maybe the defense.
Look at it this way, man. He's second year. Matt LaFleur's second year. This is Aaron Rodgers' 17th year, man.
Yeah.
He can't just be sitting waiting. He wants to win the championship.
Right.
That's
what are you waiting on? Like what? I mean, he got you to the dance.
Well, I mean,
go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mike.
I'm just saying, like you got to think about it. I've been watching. I haven't missed a game since OIF won.
Mm-hmm.
I watched every single game, so I see. I know the offense. I know the players they have. I know their abilities based off of what I've seen. They haven't given Aaron Rodgers the weapon he needs. If he had Randall Cobb, this would be a different team this year. I'm telling you right now.
Why are you talking about?
Why do you think he's moving Davante Adams into the slot? They moving him around because he's trying to portray 3 different positions.
Right.
The in, the out.
What are you talking about? That's schematic. He's the best player. He's the best weapon you got. You want him to have the ball.
Yeah, but remember when they had Cobb and they had Jordy Nelson and they had and it was like
Great Denny. They had Great Denny. Right. Yeah. They had a good running back. They had good tight end before he got injured.
Right.
They had the best. That's why he was putting up MVP numbers. Right. The problem was their defense was horrible.
Right.
The
only reason why I ask, and Cisco, I'm kind of surprised because Bill Walsh had a principle about building a team, and he would tell guys, listen, I'm going to get rid of you a year early versus a year late. So I'm not suggesting they got to just throw Aaron Rodgers out because he's aging. I'm looking at it from the perspective of, okay, listen, you got the 2 NFC Championship games. You spent a first-round pick on a quarterback. At some point, you got to get this kid on the field because you got to see what he is. You got to let him go through his growing pains and whatever. It's not like when Aaron Rodgers got drafted that you could afford to have a first-round quarterback sit for 3 years before you play him. And is Aaron Rodgers' value on the market going to be any higher than it is right now? Again, as a guy who's in year 17, that's the only question I think you have to ask yourself organizationally, and couple that with the fact that, again, maybe this team is at their ceiling with a 17-year, Aaron Rodgers and the changes you're getting ready to see with the roster because of free agency and things of that nature. They may have to consider going ahead and pushing the reset button, getting this new era Packer football started sooner than later. I think that really has to be kind of discussion.
I mean, even Aaron Rodgers is saying the same thing you're saying. He's like, I don't know what's going to happen to me next year. So when your quarterback's already thinking that, it's a possibility it's going to happen, man.
Right, yeah.
Well, I mean,
let him go then.
So, I mean, how long? Let's ask ourselves: how long was Aaron Rodgers on the bench before he started? Was
3 years.
3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they drafted Love. So everybody's already said. I guess the presumption of the group is he'll at least stay for one more year and maybe a year after that. Okay. So that's maybe. I'm just saying, but we're saying he comes back next year, or we're not saying that. We don't know.
I'm saying that, and again, this is where I agree with Mike. The issue right now, as his contract is structured, it would be too punitive to Green Bay's cap to trade him this year as his contract is currently structured. But if they can restructure his deal, and again, it's going to have to be some give and take, because if they're saying, listen, we'll trade you wherever you want to go, but you're going to have to work with us to get this cap number lowered. And Aaron says, okay, I'm willing to do that for you to trade me to the Niners, for example. I think it's a strong possibility they could very well trade him this offseason and go ahead and start Jordan Love. Because, again, you want to figure out, is Jordan Love our guy? Is he our next 15-year guy? Right now, they don't know because he hasn't played. He could be Patrick Mahomes. We don't know. And I think that's something they really have to, they got to see sooner than later. Because, again, they're going to have to determine whether or not they want to pick up his 5th-year option after his 3rd year. If he's only started 1 year, for example, and again, if he balls out, picking up his 5th-year option is a no-brainer. But if he's up and down in his first year as a starter and in his 3rd year, then you're talking about a team not even picking up his 5th-year option. So they've kind of put the timeline, they really tightened the timeline on determining whether or not they need to keep Aaron Rodgers, long term. Again, the cap is the bigger issue, but also the fact if they drafted a first-round quarterback this year and they didn't draft Jordan Love last year, you absolutely keep Aaron Rodgers for another year or two. But because of how the structure is of that first-round picks contract, they got to strongly consider going ahead and getting that era started sooner than later.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, this doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense. So Patrick Mahomes, I knew he was special because I used to watch Texas Tech game because I was, my cousin played with him, and then they had some big games, some big highlight games. How many of y'all watch Jordan Love games?
Yeah, okay. I've just seen highlights of them.
I've watched games. How many games have you watched
of Jordan Love? I'm saying I have not watched a Jordan.
Okay. I watch highlights,
but again, I've seen
after he was drafted.
Right, I'm saying.
Right,
I didn't know who he was. I
knew who Patrick Mahomes was, though. I knew Patrick Mahomes was. I knew Lamar Jackson. I knew DeShaun Watson. I knew all these guys.
I heard about him. I heard about him because they were comparing him to Kaepernick. Because again, how many Kaepernick games did you watch before Cap got drafted?
I watched their the Vegas their bowl game.
Yeah, and maybe
and that was on like a Saturday morning.
Yeah, it may be, but all I'm saying is I think they're just looking at how the business of the NFL works. Again, given what they have to, the decision they have to make in Jordan Love in 2 years after his third season, they got to determine whether they're going to pick up his fifth-year option or not. I think it makes sense for them to consider if they can work with Aaron to get his deal restructured so trading him doesn't kill the cap too much, and they can get him to a situation where, again,
why wouldn't they just extend Jordan Love on after the third year? Why wouldn't they just extend him? Because it's not going to be that much money. They give him the contract extension. It won't be that much of a hit.
What I'm saying, the thing is, you're not going to extend him after the third year if he hasn't played, because you don't.
If I got him in the first round, yes, I did. Yes, I would.
What I'm saying is, you're not going to give him. You're going to give this guy $150 million.
He wouldn't. He can't. He can't demand that money.
It's not about what he could demand. It's about what the market is for quarterbacks, for starting quarterbacks. If they're
do you think he's gonna make $150 million somewhere else?
What I'm saying is, I just want you to think about it from the perspective of the team that drafted him. They drafted him thinking, okay, we got this guy on a rookie deal. He's on a very inexpensive deal right now. If he signs an extension with the Packers, it's going to be at a starting quarterback salary. And
maybe after, but you can. Okay, so I don't disagree with the chain, but what I'm saying though is he can move that cap number to after Aaron Rodgers leaves.
But I mean, again, when he signs the extension with the Packers, presumably it won't be until after his fifth season. But they got to determine whether or not they want to pick up his fifth-year option after his third season. So the clock is ticking on that because, again, it's not like he didn't dress this season or he didn't play. The clock's ticking. So they've got 2 years to determine whether or not they want to pick up his fifth-year option.
And you got to think about too. Aaron Rodgers is due $36 million this upcoming year.
Right.
The following year he's due $39 million.
Right.
So you gotta take that in consideration. Like Sean said.
Yeah.
He's an all-time great quarterback. What do you want?
And nobody's disputing that, Cisco. But the business of football says you don't get to keep two expensive quarterbacks on your roster. So who's going to be the odd man out? The old guy is always the odd man out.
Those last time you've seen Aaron Rodgers, has anybody seen Aaron Rodgers' arm decline?
No, that's not what we're saying. We're not saying that.
I understand what you guys are saying, but you're presuming one that he's not going to be back next year. Okay.
No, I say he's going to play next year. The year after that.
Year after that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if they go 6-10, or whatever like that, because making it back to one other coach to go 4 times in a championship game, right? So it's just that's Andy Reid. So I mean, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, how many years does he have left on his extension or on his contract? 2 more years?
No, he's got 3 more years.
Got 3 more years?
He's got 3 more years because he just signed the extension in 2019 and it started in 2020. Right. So, and that's what I'm saying. When they drafted Jordan Love, they changed the timeline. The organization changed the timeline.
I agree with that.
So, again, it's not about the decline of Aaron Rodgers. It's about where's Aaron Rodgers' trade value right now. And, again, if Aaron Rodgers starts to drop off, which, again, that's not my expectation, but if he starts to drop off, his trade value to the Packers is going to drop. How many teams are going to trade for an aging quarterback who's declining on film? It's just not going to – at that cap number, it's just not going to happen. So for the Packers' sake, they're going to have to make a decision this offseason about whether or not they need to go ahead and hit the reset because of drafting Jordan Love and because they need 2 years to evaluate whether or not Jordan Love is potentially their future. Because
he's in practice every day. Well, okay.
But it's not about practice. But it's not – you got to get him game reps. You got to get him game reps. And, again, it's not like back in the day when they put in the rookie salary cap structure, this is what they said. You draft a guy in the first round, you got 4 years, that guy has a 5th-year option. You have to pick up that 5th-year option after the 3rd year. So with quarterbacks now more than ever, that's why these teams get them on the field sooner than later because they need to decide if they're going to pick up that 5th-year option, given the amount that 5th-year option usually is, which is precipitously more than they're making. They got to make that decision sooner than later. Go ahead, Mike.
Didn't they do that with Alex Smith and Mahomes?
Basically, yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, yeah.
Alex Smith, Aaron Rodgers.
No, I'm just saying. But no one knew Patrick Mahomes was going to throw 50 touchdowns his first season.
I did. That dude could sling the ball. Man. Did you not watch the Texas Tech OU game?
Yeah,
Bro,
but
Hell yeah, I knew that ball. I was shocked when he didn't go top 5.
Yeah.
Patty Mahomes? Come
Yeah.
on, man.
yeah.
Come on,
Well,
man. I've seen this guy.
But again, there were questions.
And Lamar Jackson.
There were questions about Patrick Mahomes coming out of Texas Tech because his footwork and some of his mechanics were wild. But again, going to Andy Reid, Kansas City, that situation is a big reason why. Plus, his talent is a big reason why he's so great. So, but yeah, I mean, this ain't gonna be the last time we had this conversation because again, I know we got some more to talk about. But just real quick, as we get ready to try to pivot and close out, got to go top 5, of course. Anybody got a top 5 they want to do tonight? Anybody?
Top 5 greatest boxers.
Ooh, that's hard, bro. Hey, let's put it in the class.
Yeah, that's all I was saying.
Weight class. Weight class. Well, that's still hard. Jesus.
That is hard. All right, let's go middleweight.
Yeesh.
I'm gonna need a second.
Yeah, me too. Let's do this one tomorrow.
All right, let's change it up. It don't have to be boxing. I love boxing.
No, that's fine. Listen,
I do too. I gotta.
Let's do welterweights. Welterweights.
I need a minute on that one. Okay.
How about your 5 favorite?
There you go. 5 favorites.
5 favorite.
Any weight class.
J-Mac, you want to go first?
Hey, why not, man?
We're going to have a lot of redundancies, I'm sure.
Got to go with Roy Jones, hometown P. Cola, bro. One of the best to ever do it. I got to go with Felix Trinidad. He just was a bad boy for me, man. I mean, I liked his poise in the ring. I like Floyd. I don't really say he's one of my favorites though. Because it's kind of boring to watch.
Sorry, my bad. That's an allergic reaction.
So I'll go with I'll say Floyd for a GOAT conversation. Got to go with Muhammad Ali. The greatest. The last 2, man, I always Mike Tyson and Larry Holmes.
Wow, Larry Holmes.
Hey, the greatest jab of all time.
Yeah, Larry Holmes was my boy, man. That was brutal. Yeah, that's my top 5.
Cisco.
So I'm gonna limit my field to people that I've seen. So Ali to me is the GOAT of GOATs. So I'm gonna leave that there. So the ones that I've seen personally, I'll have to go with Roy Jones Jr. Of course, there was nobody that was that dominant for that amount of time, 10 years at least, in different weight classes. Manny Pacquiao, because just what he's done, what he's able to do. Sweet Pete Whitaker, Purnell, love that boy. Love that boy. Love that boy. Iron Mike Tyson. There was just something, especially early Mike. Early Mike was just a beautiful thing to watch. And then gotta go with Sugar. I'm talking about Sugar Ray Leonard. I loved watching him box. Loved it. There was nobody as far as spotlight, biggest moments, presence, just being able to be able to perform one of those lights. I just thought he was, to me, he was hands down one of the greatest ones.
Mike.
All right, I'm gonna. It's top 5, but I'm gonna change it up a little bit because I'm gonna go with the action. To me, fighters that were action-packed fighters. Sure. I'm gonna start the heavyweight. I'll start off with Evander Holyfield, the real deal, because he fought everybody, and all his fights, win, lose, or draw, all action. Of course, Roy Jones. Roy Jones Jr. to me, ever since he beat James Toney, and not just beat him, but convincingly. I'm gonna go with Roy Jones. Julio Cesar Chavez, man, to me, nonstop action. just a nonstop action body. He's a body snatcher.
He got
body
robbed.
shot.
He got robbed a couple of times too.
He did got robbed. Yeah, I think he was 89-0 before he got his first loss.
Well, he should have lost to Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea beat that fight, won that fight.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
He robbed a couple himself.
Well, that was my next pick, Sweet Pea, because that defense. To me, there's no better defensive fighter in my eyes than Pernell Whitaker. He made it exciting. Not like Roy Jones. He made it more exciting. You know what I'm saying, when it came to defense. And then my last guy, I'm gonna go with J-Mac, man. I'm a huge Felix Trinidad fan. Just because you see him, you like, oh man, this dude can't punch. And that boy's left hook was devastating.
Very powerful.
So that was my top 5 most action-packed fighters.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with my top 5 that I've seen. I think everybody in their right mind would have Ali, but obviously Ali. I was 2 years old when Ali retired, so I never got to really see him like that, except for going back watching his fights. But I'm with everybody. Roy Jones Jr. There's not too many accolades you can't give Roy. It's Roy. That's all I can say. Is Roy. Peter Trinidad. I mean, y'all took everything that I would have said about Trinidad. I mean, it's Felix. Man, I feel like I want to say somebody that nobody said yet, but y'all took some of my favorite. Sweet Pea, Pernell Whitaker. I was a huge Sweet Pea fan. I almost feel like he was a little underrated, which seems strange to say, but I almost feel like he was a little underrated. Man, I'm gonna give you a heavyweight that I really enjoyed watching, and that was Riddick Bowe. He didn't have a long career, but I enjoyed watching Riddick Bowe.
Yeah, he was good.
I just, and again, because he didn't have a long career, I know he had, mental health issues and things like that kind of, took him out of his prime. But, I was a big Riddick Bowe fan. And then the other guy I love, and the guy I feel like, again, probably doesn't get his just due enough, is Marvelous Marvin Hagler. I love Hagler, again, just in boxing lore. I don't know if he gets his just due, but I was a big Marvelous Marvin Hagler fan, and yeah, so that's my top 5. So, and it was hard to leave, people to leave off the list. I mean, obviously, Cesar Chavez. I mean, can't say too much nice about him. I like Winky. I know Winky Wright was not a fun fighter to watch, but as a technician, I was a huge Winky Wright fan. Just
ain't nobody wanted to fight that dude because it was hard to hit him.
It's hard to hit him, and I saw one of his last fights, and he was still just an absolute technician in that fight. He could just dot you. Again, you weren't going to be overly entertained because it wasn't going to be a brawl, but just from the technical standpoint of boxing, he was that dude for me. Yeah. So anybody leave anybody off the list that they just found it hard to leave off the list?
SOG, Andre Ward. I think he doesn't get enough credit for being a technician. To be able to me, he's a lot like Floyd in that manner. Or he reminds me of like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, to be able to dissect, see what you're doing, dissect it. And he didn't have great power either. He didn't have great power, but he was accurate with his punches. He got inside. He really showed his skill off when he beat Lawson. And Lawson came down to fight him, and he put Lawson down 3 times, 2 or 3 times. And then, of course, when he went up against Kovalev.
I'm a huge Miguel Cotto fan, man, just because my wife said I look like him.
I like Cotto too.
Especially when I cut my hair bald, man, she said I look just like him. So I'm a diehard Cotto fan, man. Just because he fought everybody, man, and his style was just – he was a killer, man. He was either going to get knocked out, and you got to think about he fought Floyd, Pacquiao.
Right.
I mean, all the top welterweights, he fought them all. You know what I'm saying? So, he didn't win them all, but at least he fought them all.
Right, yeah.
I would say I would have put Deontay Wilder as one of my favorites until I saw him get his ass whooped the last time. His last fight, he got his ass whooped so bad. He actually lost twice. He lost the fight and he lost the after fight.
Now he lost 3 times because he lost to his uniform too.
Yeah, that was epic fail.
Yeah.
Epic fail.
Yeah.
The explanation is probably worth another 2 losses. So damn, he went in that fight undefeated. He took about 5 straight L's for me.
Yeah. I know.
Next time he come out there, he better not wear shit but some trunks.
No, listen. He better come out. He better come out. Remember how Tyson used to come out with just a towel?
Just like that.
And a hole in it. Like you put on nothing. You put on a towel. That's it.
Can I share a video with you guys? I want. This is from Hot Box with Mike Tyson, where he describes his top 10. I'd love to be able to play that for you guys. And it might be a little bit of feedback. I know there's not, so just bear with me on the sound. It's about a 6.5 minute clip. I'll kind of move it along. I just want you guys to hear who Mike Tyson.
Y'all know I used to box, right? I'm gonna have to show my medals and my belts.
I used to throw hands.
I used to throw down, man.
Yeah,
not no more though. I retired.
Yeah, it's good to stay in shape. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, yeah.
Any day now, Cisco.
While Cisco's getting that pulled up, give me y'all's number one, the guy you feel like is the most overrated fighter ever. For you, just your personal most overrated fighter ever.
Most overrated ever. Prince Nassim. I can't stand Prince Nassim, man.
Mm.
To me, he was overrated. He beat everybody else until he got in the ring with Marco Antonio Barrera.
Mm.
And Floyd's kind of up there too, man. I don't know, man. I'm not a real big fan of Floyd, man, just because of.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Floyd the man, so I'm not going to even mention his name because I'm not a fan of his. I'm not a fan of him as a person.
Yeah, Adrian Broner. I actually met him.
I second that.
I was training in Colorado, and I was training at a gym, and he came in there. Because a lot of boxers train in Colorado because of the altitude.
Yeah, the altitude.
And he came in there, man, and people were greeting him, but he was acting like the way he act. That's how he was. Yeah. And I was like, dude, you got your ass beat by Marco. I wanted to say that, but I wasn't ready for him, right? Because I just finished working out.
Right.
So I was like, I'm tired. So if he used to call me out, then he probably beat me. So I was like, no, I'm not even gonna say nothing to him. Gonna let it slide.
Oh man.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Hey, are you guys hearing that your boy Ryan Garcia is going to fight Manny Pacquiao?
Yeah, I heard that.
That's a big mistake, bro.
You think that work?
For Garcia.
Hey,
speaking of fighting, why is Conor McGregor still fighting?
Oh,
He's in his ass whooped.
Well, I mean, it's a loss. I mean, MMA is the worst. It's not the worst, but that's the hardest sport to compete.
It's unpredictable, yeah. I'll tell you, man.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead, bro.
No, I was gonna say, man. I know Joshua and Tyson Fury are trying to negotiate there. What do y'all think about that fight?
Joshua gonna knock his ass off.
Oh, overrated. I got you. Deontay fucking Wilder. Overrated.
He is right now. He was ready. He got to redeem himself, man.
They won.
He got to redeem himself, bro.
This guy has the. I give credit to Mike. Had the literally dynamite. At any point in time, he could pop and he'll hit you in your forehead and knock you silly. You telling me that with his length, with his athleticism, he doesn't develop a jab?
Doesn't know how to use his size, man.
And a hook shot? Could you imagine? Because he's faster than Tyson Fury. He's faster, right? So you tell me it's a little bit of head movement, a couple of those stiff jabs to the guts, step aside, a couple right hooks or left hooks. Come on, come on, overrated. Overrated.
His overall talent is overrated, but that power ain't, man.
Oh, that
That's
power.
for a 220 pound
You didn't watch this. I still love you, bro. You know, I still love you.
I just thought I was expecting more out of from him, as athletic as he is. I just expected more of that high class footwork, and it's just he doesn't have it to me.
But
it's like
they gave him a lot because they build fighters up, right? They give a lot of trash fights, right? So, during that time, somebody failed him and said, "Hey, man, we need you to do something. We need to work on this footwork. We need to be able to really develop because we already know you got dynamite, probably in both hands, but you don't see it because every fight where he had where it lasted, once the referee backed him up, you knew what was coming. Flick out the left, come through the overall right. Come on, man, he should have done more. So this is Mike Tyson on Floyd Mayweather's record. He's with LL Cool J. That was a great conversation, by the way. Listen to them two talk. That was an awesome conversation. If anybody's out there, if you get a chance, LL he knows boxing as well. And I think one of his uncles or aunts or cousins or something like that, uncles were like a super fighter or some shit. But hot boxing with Mike Tyson on Floyd Mayweather's record. And forgive me if there's too much feedback. If it becomes, I'll cut it off. But for now, let me know if you guys can hear it or can't hear it.
Floyd's a great fighter. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. He had 50 fights, and he said, listen, Sugar Ray Robinson had 47 fights. He lost one, then he had 78 fights. Then he had a 78 fight winning streak. Yeah, but even he had 47, lost one, then 78 winning streak. But even more modern than that. Look at Julio Cesar Chavez. He was 84-0, right? 89, 90 89 and 0. So don't tell me about you the greatest fighter with 50 and 0. You're great, no doubt about it. 50 and 0. Chavez had 90. Yeah. He fight like what, 8 times a year. Yeah, it's more than whoever fought him. Whoever's in the ranking. Well, I think it's all subjective. Whoever you are, come on. I think there are more metrics and more measurements that have to be.
That's crazy.
So when people come up with that, 50 and 0 for fucking Floyd, man, shut the fuck up. Chavez fought everybody in the goddamn ring. If you was on this or you were top 10 or you were mandatory, come on, I need that. Roy Jones was the exact same way. If you were in his weight class and you had a belt, I'm a partner. I need that.
But he would move up just to get competition. Like when he moved up to fight Ruiz and wore Ruiz out with a broken hand. Or was a broken wrist?
It was something, but he whooped him.
That's why I like Pacquiao, man. Pacquiao started like 115 pounds and moved all the way to 154 and won belts in 8 different weight classes.
8 belts.
That's ridiculous.
Or 8 weight classes, excuse me. Exactly right.
That's crazy. And he fought great fighters, not like bum. He fought the best fighters in that division. But anyways, hey, look up Edgar Berlanga, man.
Oh, I don't know. We'll guys say that for another time.
Yeah. Hey, J-Mac, I know J-Mac's got a role. And also, I know Cisco, you're planning to do the boxing roundtable. So, be on the lookout for that.
Come on, Mike.
Mike, you definitely got to be in that one, as well, because that's coming soon. Also, we'll be dropping an interview tomorrow with an Atlanta Falcons fan who apparently blames the Super Bowl loss on Jermaine Dupri and T.I. So, we'll be curious to.
I got to watch that one. Holy dog shit.
I got it. It's going to be very interesting to see. So, but yeah, just want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. This was, always good as usual. Obviously, got a chance to talk about several topics, but this is what we do on U3 Sports Talk. We chop it up, we talk it up. And, as always, want to thank everyone for joining. And we'll be back live Wednesday night, I believe. Talking about sports, probably get a little more NBA talk in, and also, do some pre-Super Bowl talk, hopefully. So until next time, we'll see you. Be easy. Have a good night.
Salute, fellas.
Peace.
Salute. Peace.